class. Okay, welcome back to the class again for this week. So what we are trying to do today is after the wonderful session of Dr. Sudhindra Kaushik. So today we are going to discuss some of the things. So today's class, I won't be teaching anything new for you guys. If you remember the number of steps we have completed, can I get answer in chat box? How many steps of disciplined entrepreneurship we have completed till now? Okay, maximum of you are saying 19, and one of them says 20, and somebody says a lot. Okay. Okay, maximum says 19, so I'll take that as 19 steps we have completed out of 24 steps. So let me share my screen, and today we'll be spending more of time on, so yeah, I guess you can see my screen. So what is that you will be, okay, what if you see these steps, let's revise all the 19 steps we have completed and give little bit insight about the next 5 steps, that is 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And most importantly, we won't be covering in depth at this class, but in the next class, we'll be covering all the other 5 steps. So before that, coming to guest lectures, we had many guest lectures. All of them were wonderful and amazing guest lectures. Each one of them gave different insights, and I was trying to bring them at the right point of time so that it helps you guys to actually go in the right direction. And most important takeaway in this today's session which we had was, you do first time, it's not necessary all of you will be right. You have to do mistakes, you will be bound to do mistakes, but that mistakes is more like an investment for yourself so that you don't do the mistake again. So we may have couple of more guest lectures in the rest of the class of the semester. Almost we are mid of the semester, we have another some more sessions. I will discuss about each sessions in some time now. And don't think that after this 24 steps I am an entrepreneur, but there's hell lot of things for you to still understand to become an entrepreneur. These are some of the core steps, I would say. Like for example, if you take your engineering education, you have some first year courses, you have some core courses, you have elective, you have institutional elective. So this is something like core part of entrepreneurship. But there are some more electives, some more sessions which will be very important for you to understand. And good thing is you are kind of done with a lot of assignments which you are done from next class onwards, and from this class onwards I won't be giving that much of assignments. It's more like to bring you on track is these assignments, and also to evaluate yourself on if you have understood what we are trying to learn in this class. I'm teaching, are you understanding what I'm trying to tell you? And we'll be having assignments, but it won't be so time taxing, and you need not invest so much of time. But most importantly, now we are towards from next class we'll revise all the steps again, complete all 24 steps. But next to next class onwards we will be diverting little bit, and we'll be learning something about Indian market. So these was very generic. You go anywhere in the world, these things will be very much appreciable, and all these steps are very much valid. But there are few things. Say for example, if someone in your class or you yourself wants to come up with your own startup, what is that you will learn? What is that? What are the steps? Immediately say, today I want to go and register my startup. What are the steps you have to do? That will be learning that you may not get very easily. Should you do it by yourself? Hire a consultant, hire an attorney, hire a company secretary, or go with some other company which already existed and have this expertise to do it. All those things will be learning. Then we'll also have some bonus topics like first 30 days or first few months of your startup. What is that mandatory thing you should do? And we'll also have one more session on very important things like leadership and management. What is the important difference between a leader, management, and what are the skills required for an entrepreneur? Should he be a leader? Should he be a manager? Should he be have the skills of both? And is it easy to have those skills together? So these are some of the topics, bonus topics, which you'll be getting in this class. And coming to guest speakers, I am trying to get one more entrepreneur like Sudhindra who was with us, and he'll be talking a little bit about what are the better things in the life, which as an entrepreneur, what are the things you should learn and things like that. There was a lot of things which was very lucrative when Sudhindra was talking, and also there was a lot of things which also gave us some kind of, you know, uneasiness. But we'll also learn a lot of other things, and in terms of managing a startup, I mean, once you're successful or retaining that, or once you start, you have come inside a startup culture, after that how you can retain it. And then I'm also trying to get startup Karnataka, government of Karnataka people. What are the initiatives? What are the incentives which are given for startups and things like that? So before that, there is a short session which I want to cover so that you can ask the right questions to government of Karnataka when I bring them on board. So having said this, let's revise all the 19 steps out of 24 steps which we have covered till last class. What was the first class? I mean, first. Step. The first step was market segmentation. So you have a wide market in that you will segment according to some strategy. It can be based on geography, it can be based on the attitude of people, it can be based on the place, based on many other things. Next is in that you pick up one market that is called as beachhead market, where you can put your foot very strongly and say that, hey, this is my product and this is the market I've captured, and the time to capture that market will be very less and you will become successful. That's the beachhead market. After that, we also discussed about end user profile. What is end user profile? The profile of your customer. Any customer, he should have these are the qualities, these are the traits which a person should have, or a company should have, or your end user should have. And if you see the beachhead market, we picked up some kind of some dollars or total addressable market, which means that that's some amount of money in terms of dollars or in terms of rupees, which you can make out of that. That's beachhead market. Next, you have in this end user profile, one person, one like testimonial, we call it as persona. This persona will be a real person like you and me, or if it is a B2B, it will be a real company who you will write about it. We have life cycle use case, how your product is coming into the market, how your customer gets to know what is the use case of your product, life cycle use case of your product, or life cycle use case, how you will build it. High level specification, this is little bit of technology is what we'll see in this class in high level specification. So it's a high level, very superficial, and also specific. You will come up with something so that all of us know that this is how our product will look like. Even your customers and the company people, your startup people will get to know. Quantify value proposition is another important step where you will quantify the advantages of your product. For example, you were using something and it was taking X amount of time. Now it will take X by 2. It was happening at X amount of fastness. Now it will become 2X. So this is nothing but previously it was like that. Now it is like this. After your first customer, that is your persona, you should identify next 10 customers. How would you identify next 10 customers and how is it related to your what are the traits they should have? You will bring your end user profile, try to bring some next 10 customers. Define core of a company is very important. Based on that, you can define if your core, like it can be intellectual property like your patents or your anything. It can be some technical, you might be different from others, and this is some of engineers like this rather than any other profession. But if you see, it can be other types of core. Your business model can be a core. Your the way you're delivering the service like Amazon can be core. Next, the set of assignments which we are kind of doing in previous week is charting competitive position. Competitive position you take in your one of the axis, y-axis as first priority or second priority, and another priority on your x-axis. Plot both of them and you will see that it will be like at the bottom of that x-axis and y-axis, left and bottom, you will be having something not okay and something very good. So those things you will plot and you'll put your company's logo on the right top so that you are solving those two priorities of your persona, or your customers or your end users. That's charting competitive position. This is very important again. Determining DMU, decision making unit. There are different kinds of people who are involved, who can influence you. They are not from your company, they may be from your company, but many at times they're not from your company. So DMU, it can be decision making unit, can be primary influencer, secondary influencer, and people like veto power. They are the people who are most influential. They can promote your product, they can destruct your product. That's called veto power. So three types of people. Next is mapping customer acquisition process. So how would you map your customer acquisition process? You will identify the way how you will, this is different from life cycle use case, please understand. Mapping a customer acquisition process is end to end. From the time when the customer will face a problem, he will find solution, and that solution is what is your product. How will he buy it? How will he perceive? How will he use it? How will he reuse it? And how will he throw it? And how will he acquire subsidiary products of it? All these things comes in your customer acquisition process. Follow on TAM is, you have decided in your TAM, if you remember, in the first step. So that is beachhead TAM, only smaller part of TAM. Follow on TAM is a bigger part. Once you see your beachhead market, you will cripple into another kind of market. It can be in terms of market, or it can be another product which your customer will use. For example, you're using Apple iPhone. For that, you need AirPods. So that is another subsidiary product. So this can be through your follow-on TAM you'll identify, or it can be some other. It can be a totally new product like iPad if you have already have iPhone. Next is designing business model. There are wonderful types of business models. What your Google is using, one of the business model like ads, premium version, freemium version. We have razor blade model. We have a pay over counter model. We have different kinds of model. Which model fits you and why does it fit you is your assignment. Pricing framework, this is when we will be discussing about your unit economics. I know this part is little tough for you guys, so that's why I want to spend today's class revising those things rather than revising how will you fill up your assignment sheets. I saw a few teams have already submitted, they have understood and they've done amazing work. I at least saw 2-3 of them. But yes, you guys have done amazing work. Till now, all the assignments, many of the teams have performed really well. Individual assignments also I have started evaluating. I will release the marks soon, but I'm really liking the way you guys are perceiving this course, and almost you're reaching the expectation which I have. And so this unit economics, when we talk about pricing wave framework, LTV, mapping sale process, COCA, and all those things. So we need some kind of little bit of, not max, I would say, little bit of thorough thought about how market will work. And remember, this is very, very small part of it. I have even a bigger worksheet. I can share it after you are graduated from this class, this course, because if I give it now, it will be real shock for you. It will be like your first time you're seeing some M1, M2, M3, M4 plus M8. If you take all max together, entire world, it will be put in one particular thing. But it's always good, at least these things will be taken care by somebody who is good at business and mathematics and statistics and things like that, who's very good at business. They will take care. But as a founder, as an entrepreneur, you should know at least these basic things. I mean, I told you about the TV show Sharks, right? So Shark Tank. So whenever you see that, they will be telling what is your LTV, what is your CCA, cost of customer, CAC, cost acquisition cost of customer, and or COCA. If they use that words, you should be in a position to tell them rather than you seeing your some employee whom you are hired to do all these calculations, or your company secretary, your accountant, and things like that. But you should know these basic things. That's what I'm projecting in this class. But there are much more advanced things you should know in this unit economics, the company, all those things. We'll be learning little more things very easier way in future classes. But these things, whatever I'm telling you to do in these assignments, are important. In that, we have pricing framework. How much pricing should your product be charged for? Should you put maybe very less, like 100 rupees for your product, or you should put like 1,000 rupees for your product, or 1 lakh rupees? So how much is that pricing framework? There is a framework how on around range how you should put it. LTV is lifetime value. Lifetime value is for over 5 years. I guess you should have understood if you have gone through the worksheet. from over 5 years, how much value or how much profit, how much income will your remember, it's profit, not the entire thing together. So it's profit will each customer will get to your table or to your company. Each customer, how much is that he or she will put. Sales process, how will the sales process will happen? Direct sales, indirect sales, through website, through marketing, digital marketing. How much money will those cost? What are the short-term sales, medium-term, long-term process? You should adapt all those things. Next is COCA. COCA is cost of customer acquisition. You should think about how much each customer you're spending so that you get some return. Initially, you'll be spending a lot of money. If you remember Ola, Uber, and things like that long back, where they were giving you free coupons. I remember students, my students used to come using. I mean, they used to book Uber, Ola, and they used to just come and park in front of college, and they used to pay 0 rupees because they had some coupons and all. But right now, if you see, there is nothing like that as coupons or something like that. It doesn't, not too frequent. If you see your phone pay, Google Pay, how much cashback you are getting, literally you are getting complete cashback, almost like if you paid a transaction of 100 rupees, you were getting 80 rupees cashback. Transaction of 1,000 rupees, you used to get like 150 rupees cashback, like that. Overall cashback was really huge at that time. But now you see only one message you will get is better luck next time, or you will get some coupon from some other vendor like Flipkart, 50 rupees coupon. Buy that, you will get some other coupon. So things are changing. So cost of customer acquisition, they have acquired me as Google Pay customer. Now they need not retain that much. They still have to give me perks, but the perk need not be so much. So cost of customer acquisition initial days of your company will be less. I mean, high, very high. After year and year, it will become very less. Okay. So next 5 steps, which we are remaining, which we'll cover in next few classes, and next class is identify key assumptions. There'll be few key assumptions you would have thought, but you wouldn't have identified. In this next class, you will try to see how you can identify. You have to test those key assumptions if it is valid, or if you're just really thinking, but it may not be true, that you are just thinking of yourself. Next is define MVVP. MVP is minimal viable product. So you would have a business product. MVP is minimum viable product, but MIT defines this little differently. It's called minimum viable product, business product. So which means that whatever product you do, it should give you some business. It's not that something which should happen just that you show something and people will start buying it. Next interesting thing is show dogs will eat the dog food. So your customers, you should give what they are capable of digesting. Don't give something which they're not capable of digesting. This is one step which many of us, we do this mistake and we end up doing it. And last one is develop product plan. So how will you scale it? This is connected to your follow-on TAM. So how will you scale this for a bigger level and things like that? So that is something which you guys should do at a stretch product plan. So we'll learn all these things. Most probably we'll not do bigger assignments for the next 5 steps, because that's much, you should be very mature to follow on those steps. One thing, if you have realized in all these 24 steps, there are color coded. If you see, these are color coded, which means that those are connected, whatever color coded ones are connected. And there are some arrow marks which are there in this diagram, which means that, for example, if you see next 10 customers is related to persona. Persona is your first customer. Based on that, you have to derive next 10 customers. Beachhead TAM size, beachhead market, so you have to come up with TAM. So those are connected. Similarly, COCA is connected to beachhead market. So whenever you're trying to do, you should follow on through this, which means that you should refer those steps. Of course, each step is important. You should go back and forth and come up with your answers. Okay, so next sometime, next few minutes, we will spend on your deliverables, which was given to you guys. So I saw few of you were really struggling to find the deliverables. And I see somebody's messaging me on Telegram. So please stop it, listen to the class. I'll solve all your problems by end of today. I'll wait for some more time of the class and you can ask all the questions. I'll unmute everyone so you can ask any question you want, you can have. So if you see competitive positioning, I know you have done, you will put one x-axis and y-axis, use it in, do it in PPT or Word document, put those logos and put yourself on the top right. So that is one. Decision making unit, you know what you're supposed to do, check class 5 slides. Primary influencer, secondary influencer, veto power, who are the people, if it is organization, how did you get to know that these people are primary, secondary, veto power? That is information source. Any other things you want to tell, you can put it here. Decision making process is what process you're adapting, that you will put it here. Process of acquiring your paying customer is what you will sketch a nice diagram and put it. I've seen few of you have already put it. Follow on time, I've asked you no submission, because it's really a lot of things you should take into consideration before you come up with the actual numbers, and I'm sure many of us will get wrong at this point of time, but till now you can park it. Once you graduate, if you're really coming out as an entrepreneur, that time you can check about it. And next is you should write your business model. I told you, come up with business model, any kind of business model. Refer class slide, slide 12 of class 6. You will know what are the different kinds of model. Those are very limited, but there can be anything beyond that also. Just see some, go to your competitor. You would have done competitive positioning, right? So check what kind of business model they are using, and can you use the same business model for yourself? As simple as that. And what's the model you're using? Why do you want to use that model is what you're supposed to write. And next thing is pricing framework. Here you are telling how much does your product cost price. If you have seen even Shark Tank, they'll ask you how much are you making the product. They'll say, okay, my product is, or my commodity is for $10, but how much you're selling for? They'll say $40, $50. Oh, it's like a huge margin of 40 $30 or something. It's not really a huge margin, but considering your cost of customer acquisition, which includes a lot of sales, marketing, so on, so forth, installation, perks, insurances, your employee cost, all those things. But the selling, your profit margin may be around something like very less, 10%, 20%, $10, 20. So on what basis? So this one I'm asking you to write maximum 4 to 5 points, only in points. This one I've asked. Okay. Now coming to this is where I saw that few of you are struggling. So I thought I'll discuss with you some of the examples. I've updated some of the examples on the same spreadsheet so that you can see some of the calculations here and try to see if that makes any sense for you guys. Okay. So just go through these, we'll go through right away so that if you have any questions, you can ask. So if you see this lifetime value, remember one of the questions which I've got, lifetime value, is it for one customer or is it for that particular, the number of customers I have acquired? Lifetime value is a cumulative process and it is for one customer, but while you write in this worksheet, you'll write little differently. I'll let you know in some time. Whereas Coca is again for single customer. So when you do the ratio of it, which means that LTV by Coca, the amount you spend for your customer acquisition is in denominator, and numerator will have how much profit you have made. That will give you some kind of insight whether your company is successful. If you have read the Disciplined Entrepreneurship article, the book, there it clearly says that you say somebody is coming with LTV $10,000, I'm getting LTV for year 1, year 2, something like that. That's wow. But if you ask me what is the cost of customer acquisition, they'll say, oh, it's like $50,000, which means that 5 times more they're spending to acquire customer and they're getting profit of only 1 time. They are lost at 4 times at that particular year. But over the years, they may increase or they may decrease, but you should ensure that the ratio is always more. So there is a law, Stokes law, which says that you should be at least 3 times more. Your Coca should be 3 times less, or LTV should be 3 times more than Coca, so that you will be profitable at long term. Next thing is one more thing I want to tell about cost of customer acquisition. Okay, I'll get back to that. But what you're supposed to do is you can go and see here. These are the worksheet which I put. You can go and download it. I can show you some examples, but this is very easily fillable table. I've given you some example right here. So short term, medium term, long term. In the short term, you'll write what are the sales expenses, what are the marketing expenses. As Sudhindra told, sales and marketing are not the same. So sales people are, they already have customer, they're selling it. Marketing people do need to do marketing. Sales people really, the marketing people will lead to the sales, and sales will start selling it. So both are not same, but both of them have to work hand in gloves. So they can't be like you work independently, I'll work independently. That may not be a successful one. So sales expenses here, you will write like travel, entertainment, consultant, and so on and so forth, and things like that. Do not put your salary and all here. That's not right at this point of time. So salary in the sense, salary of the CEOs, CTOs, or somebody who's not working for sales. Okay, you have to put salary, but not of yours, which means that if you are in sales, you have to put yours. But if someone is not in sales, they are not directly, they are like R&D, no, you are not supposed to put here. If they are CEO, CTO, or someone who is not really contributing sales, don't put this. Here also marketing expenses, again for marketing, if they are doing, so you will put that. So short term, medium term, and long term. I've given an example in your class slide, check that. For short term, one more question which I got from students is that, what do you mean by short term, medium term, long term? For this class, let's understand for LTV calculations and COCA calculations, let's assume short term is 1 year, 0 to 1 year, and medium term 2 to 3 years. Okay, and long term 4 to 5 years. So whatever calculations you are doing, do it for 5 years. Okay. Someone may say, no, my product is really, it takes time, it can't be fit in 5 years, so please, I need to tweak a little bit. You are more than welcome to tweak it, and ensure that you are following for 10 years or something, but ideally it says that 5 years is something which you have to calculate your LTV and COCA for many of the companies. Same way, if you see your somebody may say that I don't really need so much of time, I can come up with profit really long term. In my long term is not really 5 years, it can be just like 2 years, I can finish off and I can see a lot of money out of it. You're more than welcome, try that, but be very careful while doing it. It will be overburdening, over enthusiastic, over ambitious. So try being that. So let's revise. Short term is for the first year, medium term 2 to 3 years, and then long term 4 to 5 years. Okay. Every time you're spending so much time, don't put yourself in short term for longer, medium term longer, and long term. Yes, you should be long enough for putting it yourself there. So first I've given you COCA and then LTV. There is a logic behind it. Why? Because you will get some, for this, the worksheet I've reduced really less so that you get some kind of, understanding here. So if you see, all of this is year 1, year 2, 3, 4, 5, for 5 years you're doing. And here new customers forecasted. So here is the only one you will put numbers, and rest all are in your currency. Okay, so here is numbers, like you'll take like new customers. In the first year, I won't be over ambitious, 100 customers. Second year, I know I can acquire 1,000. Third year, 10,000. Fourth year, 50,000. Fifth year, I'll have 10 lakhs, something like that. So these are something which you should be predicting new customers. Sales expenses, if you go here, see this thing. So short term, medium term, long term, you already have written. That's the reason I've given you this table up and then later down. So check there how much you have spent, that accordingly you put here. All marketing expenses here, and then total sales plus marketing. This is nothing but, if I take this as A, and then this as B, and this as C, this as D, which is nothing but B plus C. And what is the COCA? COCA is nothing but the amount which you'll be doing. That is nothing but, again, your any other additional expenses, miscellaneous expenses you will do, and that you will put it here. So this COCA is very simple. I get to know that, but short term, when you see this sales map process. In the slide, class 6 slide of 38, it's clearly given how one of the examples we have given. You can use something similar for yours also. Don't bang your head a lot. Just write something similar for yourself. So write direct sales, how much, indirect sales through website, through in-person, through walk-in, through digital marketing and things like that. What type of sale you do, what is the target market. So this is, you can check in the slide, you will get the right answer for this. LTV is where I got a lot of questions. So how will you write this LTV? Don't worry, it's very easy. One-time revenue amount, first year, I mean, at this point of time, that is right now, if you have a company at this point of time, I don't have anything, but one-time revenue for your product. Let's take one example, very simple example for us to understand is printer, mobile phone. Let's take printer because we have different kinds of revenues there. Printer, I'll say one-time revenue is, say, I'm selling the printer for 10,000 rupees. Okay. And one-time revenue profit is 6,000 rupees, which means that the actual product for me expense for me to bring that product out is 4,000. 6,000 I'm making money in that. All those marketing stuffs and all included, which means that 60. This is just, I'm giving you a random number. Maybe printers will do a lot of money in that, but that's how companies work. Don't think, if you take your iPhone also, if you're thinking of iPhone, how much do you pay? You pay 1 lakh, but how much is the expenses which your Apple company is doing? Maybe 20,000, 30,000, including shipping from China, and now China has stopped, but somewhere, whatever you're doing, 30,000, 40,000, rest all are profit because they are doing a lot of marketing. They need to spend there and so on and so forth. Again, one-time revenue and profit, you take A into B and put it here. Recurring revenue amount. This, if you have 0 here, all those things will be 0. If you have some value here, you can still go ahead and do it. See, at this point of time, do you have anything? But as far if you take this class, but I get to know in this class, there are few of them who have companies. So for them, I will give the privilege of they can use this sheet so that they'll have more of important concepts which they can put it here. Recurring revenue is nothing but for the printer. What's the recurring revenue for first year? First year, I'll see that I'll use my printer. I'll assume that my customer, say, if you take my office, R&D office, I take at least minimum 50 prints per day. And when the admissions happen, PhD admissions, and when some examinations happen, all those time, I'll be taking 100 per day. So at an average, I will refill my cartridge every month. So every month I'll be spending around 5,000 for refilling a cartridge. So 5,000 into, say, working months, if I take 10 months. So if I take, I'll say I'm paying 50,000. So 50,000 is my recurring revenue amount. So in that recurring revenue, my cartridge is just like 10,000, rest 40,000 I will be profit for me. So this is razor blade model. And you will multiply those two, and other revenue amount, if you have, you will again put here in case of like maintenance. So that person comes, he just does the service and he says he'll charge me like 600 bucks. So annually I'll do 2 services. So I'll charge 1,200 bucks. So this is, I'm talking as a customer. And then other revenue profit margin, how much? 1,200. So is allowance, traveling, all those things, is food and all. I won't have much revenue. So I'll put maybe around 300 rupees is my revenue. Other revenue profit, 1,200 into 300, I'll put. Sum of profits for the time period. So what I'll do is, what is the sum of profits? So I will add this one. So where is the profit? The C and F and I. I'll add here, I'll get this value. All these 5 values. Like this, you are supposed to see the number of things which you will do in second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. Now you may ask me a question that, sir, it will be same for every year, right? Every year it won't change. No, it may not be same, because I've taken printer. Now I want a wireless printer. So I'll give him a wireless, some adapter. So that will be additional thing. So in your product, it will be different. The way you are doing your entrepreneurship may be different. So check in your product what is the extra thing. So every year it will be changing most of the time. If you're keeping constant, that's not really a good business model. You always have to do innovation. So if same Apple, if I do, I'll just put extra capacitive touch and ask them to pay more money, and I'll say, okay, you buy this AirPods, you take. So all those things will be your next 5 years. For the same customer, how much you'll do. After that, there is something known as NPV. So what is this NPV? It's net price value. So when you see NPV, there will be a discount factor. What do you mean by discount factor? This is really interesting one. See, at the initial value, say you have taken investment. I'm your investor. I have invested, say $100,000, around 70 lakhs in your company. So once I invest in your company, what I'll do is after every year, I'll start expecting some returns for me, which means that your investment, I'll say investment, and unless you clear all my investment as per whatever is our agreement. So I'll say I'll give you 70 lakhs within 5 years, I want double. That's very generous of me, you should say, but not all investors are so, they'll be very cheesy offers, but it may not be cheesy. So so 1 crore 40 lakhs you're supposed to return to me. So as soon as you do that, every year you are returning some amount. So that way it will reduce all your values, and finally it will come to very less value. This is like 50% per year. You're assuming units of time every year. So that discount factor you're putting, and what you'll do is take the sum of profit and put it here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Now this part which is highlighted for you guys is nothing but, let me highlight in some good color. Yeah. This part is nothing but your LTV. Okay. LTV usually it's measured for 5 years. So you take sum of all the cells of total 5 years, and this one is nothing but your sum of NPVs. Now, once you have this 5 cells, and remember, if you have X here, this will be also X. That is one important thing. If you have Y here, you'll have Y, and so on and so forth. Okay. And additionally, I want to tell you another thing is, now after this, you have to start plotting the graph. Take this 5 values here and put those 5 values here. Then go to COCA. If you remember the previous table which we had discussed, COCA for 5 years, and then go and paste it here. This one in the Excel template which I've given, once you enter these values, you do it in dollars or rupees, it's left to you, and you will get a graph like this. Ideally, your COCA, how should it look like? So where can I do the marking? Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, so how does this look like? If I see something like COCA and LTV graph. Okay, so when I see this graph, sorry, LTV graph. So when I see this graph, it will be, okay. Yeah, so now when I see this graph, see, this is one of the graph. So how is this graph? How should this graph look like? Okay, this is a flow resolution, but I guess you can make out. So this writes the cost of customer acquisition at the starting point will be very high. Your COCA, you should be putting a lot of money. So cash flow, it's called. This is another new term. It's called cash flow, which means that the amount required for your company to make it, sustainable and things like that. That's known as cash flow. So cash flow will be negative because the profit will be very less at this point of time, and your investments will be more. So we call it cash flow negative because your LTV is still growing. and the cash flow is your coca is less, because at this point of time you're pumping a lot of money, and after some time, once you get your customer, like I became Apple customer maybe 8 years back or 7 years back. So I had Apple phone, then I took iMac, then I took MacBook, I took iPad and things, and now I'm Apple. Now I'm continuous customer. Every year I renew something, every year I buy something, every year I sell something, so I'm a customer for longer time. So starting, they had to actually call me, they had to give me some promotions, they have to tell, hey, Apple, somebody has to come and talk to me and this. So investment was, now they need not even come to me. Even if they don't come, I just order and I get my product. So it's very important that your time versus money, if you see, your LTV, the profit you're making will be on the higher side in the later part, but initially it will be lower, but it will be vice versa for Coca, cost of customer acquisition. At some point of time, there'll be point of equilibrium where there will be no cash flow. It will be zero. Anything comes, goes out. And that point is very important. You have to still sustain, and some point of time you'll start increasing your income and your cost of customer acquisition will go down. If there is somebody asked me, there is no intersection, is mine right? Okay, you may be doing some mistake in calculation, please check that. Okay, so this is what I wanted to cover today about these things. So any questions you guys have? So steps 17 and 18 are part of step 19. Yeah, so Avni is asking that. See, 17, 18, 19, you have to look through all three of them together. That's why I grouped them here. I didn't give them as separately. I grouped them so that you understand it and try to. So if you have questions, please do type, or you can raise your hand. I'll unmute you and just see this example here. You can go to this example and check yourself. I had given the link where they say how they have done. This is same discipline on somebody has updated on SlideShare. So sales expenses, short term. I mean, this simple is it is. Don't make it too complicated. I've seen people who have really done really good math. Appreciate your efforts, but you need not really do that. At this point of time, you're just trying to understand what will be your flow. Money, cash flow, is it negative, positive? 5 years down the line, if it's still negative, then it's not worth pursuing your product. And what is that first year, second year, and things like that? Second year, third year, fourth year, and then Coca and LTV, see their graph. LTV, they're almost getting, though they of customer acquisition. If I think that, okay, at this point of time, I have to just make break even, but at some point of time, I'll start increasing. So this graph is a little weird if you see, but that may be possibility. It depends on your product, your innovation. So don't really think that you are going wrong or right. Just try to fill this, understand the concept rather than filling it more, judiciously. Just try to understand, and then you fill it, automatically it will feel right. Very simple. I took almost like maybe half an hour or something to explain this entire concept, but the same amount of time is just playing with numbers, you'll get everything ready. So if you're not really, if you want to see how this entire thing works, what increases, if what will happen if you increase your LTV or decrease your Coca, how will the dynamics change? So go to this website, and there is the same web sheet which I gave you in the Excel sheet. So this gives you some of the calculate how they have calculated. And I've given you a template there. You key in some of the numbers, automatically things will change for you. It will tell you what's your Coca, what's your LTV based on some of the numbers. So you can use that also. I have no objections, but make sure you are doing right Coca and LTV calculations. Okay. So just to ensure you guys are here, can I have some shout out by either doing some kind of emojis, or it can be chat saying yes, hello. Yeah, I can see hello. Are you guys there? Have you, or okay, I am getting very less number of yes sir, no sir, hello, hi, yes, thumbs up. Okay, okay, this clap is for you guys for being awake and you're trying to see. because I'm just talking on one side. I'm not sure if you guys are hearing, so I need this. So if you have any questions, let me know now of all the steps, whatever we discussed, especially LTV, COCA, graphs, all those things. Okay, can someone is telling, can you show the COCA versus LTV relationship thing one more time? Yes, sure. I will do the same thing. See, one more thing, that Excel is for yourself. Don't upload your Excels. I don't need your Excels. Okay. I need those, your worksheets to be filled on your Word document, which I've given on the worksheet. Don't try to upload your Excel. Excel is for your calculation. Do whatever calculation, automatically it will calculate and give you some numbers. So let me show you the graph which I had plotted. Example. Okay, let me see if this has some graph. This example, if you see, this is for one of the company. If it opens up, yeah. So this one was my company when when I was at MIT. We were doing this exercise which converted into company after my graduation. So this is what we have. What is the sales expenses, marketing expenses? We gave very short one because we want to ensure that we give the right amount of money for that. We said, okay, these many dollars and things, long term, short term, for both sales and marketing expenses. I've given you a clue what can be sales expenses and marketing expenses. And second thing is, I did estimation of COCA. So if you see here, estimation of COCA, I did this 0 sales and so on and so forth. And some point of time, it's that this is $60 I'm making money. See, first year I don't have any cost of acquisition. It's possible. Don't think that it's not possible. And then I wrote short term, medium term, and long term. So I would suggest take the short term, medium term, long term. Short term is I'll take some year one, year 1 and 2. So 66 will be my short term. Year 3 and sorry, yeah, year 3 can be, year 0 1 can be short term. Year 2 and 3 can be long term, and medium term, and year 4 and 5 can be long term. So you take that, you can put those values, and then finally you'll plot it. You'll plot. At first few times I didn't have any LTV. I had zero profit. You know, medtech devices, when you do it, you really won't get any profit first 2 3 years. You have to struggle a lot to make your mark in the market and try to get your opposite people churn their customers, and they have to come to you. So that really you won't have. Only thing is you have to keep on pumping money. Cash flow will be negative. At one point of time it will become positive. So first year we didn't have, but second year we started having positive cash flow. If you see, our cost of customer acquisition was very less, because it's medtech, word of mouth really works and things like that. We wanted to justify that way. May not be true for all the product, but few of the products work that way. So this is how you will do. You have sufficient examples. If you still have questions, there's a lot of videos available. You can contact me. I can schedule a separate meeting with you guys, which I'm planning very soon. I'll let you know how we are going to do that. Okay. Having said this, if there are no more questions, let me see on the chat window. Why graphs need to be similar? Graphs may change as per experience, but justification to set the business can be right learning. This is only my view. Yes, sir. I completely agree. The graphs we need not change, but only thing I'm telling is, so let me repeat a couple of things again to clarify with everyone. So I showed you a couple of graphs. It's not that, see, this graph is different, that graph is different. Only thing is starting point. This is generic rule, thumb rule, which all of us have to follow, is you need not keep on pumping money to gain the customer. For example, BMS College of Engineering, irrespective of because the college is good, we are already famous, then admissions happens automatically. But if you take a new college, say for example, let's take BMS IT, we have to do a little bit of marketing about BMS IT so people can come and join them. So at the initial point, maybe let's take 1946 we established. At that point of time, we were doing, I mean, this is just an analogy, anecdote. It's not true, but we were doing marketing at 1946. But 2020, you need not do any marketing. You still get customers for you. You still get students for you who will take admissions. Similarly, but the profit what you're making in any product. So let's take Apple. Apple was doing a lot of marketing when it came with that small iPods, or I mean, whatever, that small music devices. But later at that time marketing, but now if you see the marketing cost has come down, or it's the same, but the profit which they are making is very high. So there should be a positive cash flow at the later point of year negative. I mean, if you are getting positive cash flow at the first year itself, please go ahead and to show your graph and you justify, which is really very rare in this competitive world. So it takes time to have your positive cash flow. Okay, so LTV one-time revenue amount for our product would be $3 to $4, but product cost price will be high. Yeah, see, one more thing is at some point of time, if you see your Coca should be, your LTV should be 3 times Coca. Your profit should be 3 times cost of customer acquisition at some point. That some point can be uh, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line. Okay, don't try to give very less margin. See, you're not losing anything this assignment, but once you do in your real life also, you become entrepreneur. Don't put lot of money, put lot of money on your customer acquisition. Once you have customer, automatically cash flow will be positive. It won't go negative because you're getting profit. People are using it. Okay, somebody's saying, sir, for a free app, the business cycle can be in months. So is it fine that our data somewhat accurate over the period of 1 year, quarterly calculated? Yeah, go ahead. That's left to you, Savio. But only thing is, you go to the example which I gave you here, right? In this website which you're trying to see, here they're given you different kinds of examples. So one is periodic purchase, monthly recurring, one-time sale, and monthly recurring. This is like printer. Monthly recurring is like your software as service. And periodic purchase is quarterly subscription, maybe like your Airtel, your SIM cards and things like that. So they have given a lot of examples here and justifications here. Please go through this. This is really nice material. One of the professor, he's teaching in some other university like me. He has made all these things and he's given to Bill Olet, and Bill has said, hey, this is really good. Here Bill has said this is really good, and we have added, and it is super helpful and practically possible. So check this. This has given all, I mean, this three are the famous business models which he has calculated and he has given. So just check this website. It will give you some insight. One more thing I want to tell you is there is something known as churn. I'm not sure if I covered in the previous class. See, churn. If you see his worksheet also, there is a churn. Churn is nothing but it's the time when your customer will start leaving you. Okay, that's called as churn. Retention, opposite to retention is attrition. Your customers are leaving your product and going. I'm Apple customer. Tomorrow, all of a sudden, I'll start becoming Samsung customer. So I'm leaving Apple. So that's churn for Apple, but it's acquisition for Samsung. And if I retain with Samsung for 2 years, then it's retention for Samsung. Understand these three words: churn, retention, attrition. So churn is attrition, retention, acquisition. Acquisition is first time you're acquiring them. Churn is he's leaving you after 2 years or 3 years. He's not, it's like they're leaving you and going your product. He's going to a new company or competitor. Retention is you're retaining. So don't assume 100% retention in your calculation. Assume that few people will go, nobody may join, or few more people will join and things like that. Whenever you do, be little practical, put your logic, discuss with your friends and come up with the calculations. And I've seen many of you students have this problem of that my teammate is busy with something, so I have to do everything. I got that complaints also. That's how your company will work. If your teammate is not good, kick that person out and say you're not part of my company, so I'll throw you out of the team. Take majority of 5 of you in the team. So 3 of you are working, other 2 are not working. You 3 of you take decision. You tell them you form your own team and do work. We don't want you because you're not contributing. You shouldn't. That's why people don't take their friends as their partners, co-founders. It's always the skills should be complementary. If you're friends, then there'll be a lot of differences which may happen. Oh, I'm your friend, you are not even respecting that, so on and so forth. Okay, so with this I will if there are no more questions, shouldn't LTV profit margin be filled as percentage in the sheet? Not really. You should put the exact amount. So $300, $200, $100, 100 rupees, 500 rupees, and things like that. And please aim big. I've seen people making profit of $5, $10. No, that's not how you make profit. There is no harm. There is no harm in making more profit. That's how world is running. You're not cheating anyone. You're doing business. So if your product costs, because you will have a lot of investments. Apple is making a lot of money, and Mark Zuckerberg is making a lot of money. If you'd have thought that I'll give things for free, we wouldn't have been talking about him so much, right? So no harm in making money. That's if I don't believe in that. That if somebody, you can be, it's not money minded, but you're a businessman or you're an entrepreneur who's trying to make profit. Okay, as simple as that. Because you have to give money back to your investor, right? And they'll also have say. They'll have voting power. We'll discuss all those things in some of the other class. Okay, so what are the things we'll discuss in the next class is today's class we are done. I'll stop recording.